translation of Sahih Bukhari, Book 42. Lost Things Picked Up by Someone. Luqaata. Volume 3, Book 42, number 608. Narrated Ubay bin Ka'b. I found a purse containing 100 dinars. So I went to the Prophet and informed him about it. He said, "Make public announcement about it for 1 year." I did so, but nobody turned up to claim it. So I again went to the Prophet, who said, "Make public announcement for another year." I did, but none turned up to claim it. I went to him for the third time and he said, "Keep the container and the string which is used for its tying and count the money it contains, and if its owner comes, give it to him. Otherwise, utilize it." The sub-narrator Salama said, "I met him, Suwaid, another sub-narrator, in Mecca, and he said, I don't know whether Ubay made the announcement for 3 years or just 1 year." Number 609. Narrated Zayd bin Khalid al-Juhani. A Bedouin went to the Prophet and asked him about picking up a lost thing. The Prophet said, "Make public announcement about it for 1 year. Remember the description of its container and the string with which it is tied. And if somebody comes and claims it and describes it correctly, give it to him. Otherwise, utilize it." He said, "O Allah's Apostle, what about a lost sheep?" The Prophet said, "It is for you, for your brother that is its owner, or for the wolf." He further asked, "What about a lost camel?" On that the face of the Prophet became red with anger and said, "You have nothing to do with it, as it has its feet, its water reserve, and can reach places of water and drink, and eat trees." Number 610. Narrated Sulayman bin Bilal from Yahya. Yazid Mawla al-Munbayth heard Zayd bin Khalid al-Juham saying, the Prophet was asked about Luqaata. He said, "Remember the description of its container and the string it is tied with, and announce it publicly for 1 year." Yazid added, "If nobody claims, then the person who has found it can spend it, and it is regarded as a trust entrusted to him." Yahya said, "I do not know whether the last sentences were said by the Prophet or by Yazid." Zayd further said, the Prophet was asked, "What about a lost sheep?" The Prophet said, "Take it, for it is for you or for your brother that is its owner, or for the wolf." Yazid added that it should also be announced publicly. The man then asked the Prophet about a lost camel. The Prophet said, "Leave it, as it has its feet, water container reservoir, and it will reach a place of water and eat trees till its owner finds it." Number 612. Narrated Anas. The Prophet passed a date fallen on the way and said, "Were I not afraid that it may be from a sadaqah, charitable gifts, I would have eaten it." Narrated Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, "Sometimes when I return home and find a date fallen on my bed, I pick it up in order to eat it, but I fear that it might be from a sadaqah, so I throw it." Number 613. Narrated Abu Hurairah. When Allah gave victory to His apostle over the people of Mecca, Allah's apostle stood up among the people and, after glorifying Allah, said, "Allah has prohibited fighting in Mecca and has given authority to His apostle and the believers over it, so fighting was illegal for anyone before me, and was made legal for me for a part of a day, and it will not be legal for anyone after me. Its game should not be chased, its thorny bushes should not be uprooted, and picking up its fallen things is not allowed except for one who makes public announcement for it, and he whose relative is murdered has the option either to accept a compensation for it or to retaliate." Al-Abbas said, "Accept al-idkar, for we use it in our graves and houses." Allah's apostle said, "Accept al-idkar." Abu Shah, a Yemenite, stood up and said, "O Allah's apostle, get it written for me." Allah's apostle said, "Write it for Abu Shah." The sub-narrator asked Al-Awza'i, what did he mean by saying, "Get it written, O Allah's apostle?" He replied, the speech which he had heard from Allah's apostle. Number 614. Narrated Ibn Umar. Allah's apostle said, "An animal should not be milked without the permission of its owner. Does any of you like that somebody comes to his store and breaks his container and takes away his food? The udders of the animals are the stores of their owners where their provision is kept, so nobody should milk the animals of somebody else, without the permission of its owner." Number 616. Narrated Suwaid bin Ghafala. While I was in the company of Salman bin Rabi'a and Suhayn, in one of the holy battles, I found a whip. One of them told me to drop it, but I refused to do so and said that I would give it to its owner if I found him, otherwise I would utilize it. On our return we performed Hajj, and on passing by Medina, I asked Ubay bin Ka'b about it. He said, I found a bag containing 100 dinars in the lifetime of the Prophet and took it to the Prophet, who said to me, make public announcement about it for 1 year. So, I announced it for 1 year and went to the Prophet, who said, announce it publicly for another year. So, I announced it for another year. I went to him again and he said, announce for another year. So I announced for still another year. I went to the Prophet for the 4th time, and he said, remember the amount of money, the description of its container and the string it is tied with, and if the owner comes, give it to him. Otherwise, utilize it. Number 619. Narrated Abu Bakr. While I was on my way, all of a sudden I saw a shepherd driving his sheep. I asked him whose servant he was. He replied that he was the servant of a man from Quraysh, and then he mentioned his name and I recognized him. I asked, do your sheep have some milk? He replied in the affirmative. I said, are you going to milk for me? He replied in the affirmative. I ordered him and he tied the legs of one of the sheep. Then I told him to clean the utter teats of dust and to remove dust off his hands. He removed the dust off his hands by clapping his hands. He then milked a little milk. I put the milk for Allah's apostle in a pot and closed its mouth with a piece of cloth and poured water over it till it became cold. I took it to the Prophet and said, drink, O Allah's apostle. He drank it till I was pleased.